What would you do if a group of bullies pulled a prank on you so bad that it left physical scarring and deformation of your face and body, and the madness sent you to a mental hospital? Would you want revenge? That's the story of the manga Pumpkin Night, a horror thriller-esque manga that's changed my opinion on the genre completely. You see, the horror genre is good for only two things in my opinion. Quick scares that make you laugh with your friends, and a way to cuddle with the ladies. Never once, however, have I watched or read a horror story and felt true empathy for the killer. Maybe because I'm not well versed in the genre, but this manga was so interesting. You see, at first, when we see Naoko Kurino, she has already brutally murdered the staff of her mental hospital while wearing a pumpkin head, making her the Pumpkin Knight. You as the reader immediately believe that she is the problem, she is the monster, and she needs to be put down. This idea is further solidified by the very first death, Asumi. You see, Naoko made it a point to follow her group of bullies on social media as a way to intimidate them. After a brief convo with Asumi, she declares her intentions of wanting to kill her and then attacks her in her own home. In Asumi's final moments for help, she calls for her classmate Kazuya to tell him that Naoko is going to kill them all. Asumi is then brutally murdered, and I'm talking about like brutally murdered. Everyone that dies in this series, it is bloody. Because of her death, Naoko's bullies assemble together to assess what they are going to do about this, how they're going to survive, are they going to go after Naoko? Now, what is interesting about this manga is that already within the first chapter, I'm both horrified and intrigued. What did these kids do that was so bad that one of their classmates would turn into a sociopath, get sent to a mental hospital, and then eventually turn into like a serial killer? Like, are kids really that bad of bullies these days? Are they? I don't want to spoil any more of the story, but the events that happened in each chapter of part one, because there is 2 parts currently, made me want to keep reading all night. I was obsessed with reading this manga, but not because I was interested in all of the action or the suspense of whether or not these kids were gonna make it, were they gonna survive Naoko's Pumpkin Night murder, No, I was obsessed with reading because I wanted to learn more about Naoko and why she was the way she was. The more I learned about her, the more empathy that I had. And at times, that was super hard because, this book is seriously horror porn with how brutal the art is. The creators, the way they depict death is sometimes disgusting. This is not a clean PG book, okay? It's a hard R. It makes Saw look chill. The human level, however, made me super intrigued, and there was so much that I wanted to learn about Naoko, and each chapter gave me a little ounce of knowledge that made me want to keep reading and reading. It makes me wonder if a prequel story of Michael from Halloween would be any good. Would we care about how he turned into a killer, the killer that he's known for today, if we had his complete backstory all in one movie? I'm not saying that we should have empathy or be able to relate to killers, but I do believe that having that extra layer of humanity in a story can cause a reader or viewer a greater opportunity to connect with the story that's being told. The other main character besides Naoko is Kazuya, and out of all of the bullies, because he is one of the bullies, he's in the group, he is super interesting as a character. And he has an even crazier layer to the story because him and Naoko have this weird relationship with each other where Naoko has all of these opportunities to kill Kazuya, and each time she doesn't. And there's this level of understanding and almost love within these two characters, and you're like, hold the phone. If Kazuya is part of this bully group who treated Naoko so bad, why? Why is she giving him all these opportunities to live? And it just makes this story even more interesting. Pumpkin Night presents itself as a teen slasher horror title. However, the very first arc of the story has so much more depth than that. And that's saying that it's not saying that it's just a slasher horror book. That would feel really disingenuous, honestly. I have a lot of praise for the first arc, as this is not only a book I wouldn't necessarily seek out to read, but it became a story that I was hooked on for reading for many days. Tons of praise for the first arc. The twist in the story, at first when I started reading it, I was like, this is not something that I want to keep reading. After part 1, I was like, I'm done. But this second part has really intrigued me, and I cannot wait for this book to come out of hiatus. Now, my only qualms for the series, my only real big problems of the series was, I don't know if it's the translation or maybe the creators really wrote it like this, but there was like so many Trump jokes. There's Donald Trump. He's the evil dad in one of the chapters. Sometimes the guy will like grab someone's hand and go, "I'm gonna hit her with my toxic masculinity." And at times I was like laughing and I was like, this is kind of funny. This is kind of stupid. During those times though, it did take me out of the story. But honestly, if I look at the series as a whole, it's so weird. It's so fun. It's so strange. And honestly, I definitely recommend it. If you're okay with looking at the brutalization of some of this art, I think you should check out this series because the art is great. The story is great. And it's definitely different. So go check it out.